Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast, the show where we take a deep dive into fascinating stories and uncover the hidden gems you might have missed.
Ready to embark on another adventure.
You bet. Today we're saddling up and riding into the world of a true Hollywood icon, Clint Eastwood.
Ah, Eastwood, a name synonymous with grit, determination, and that steely-eyed gaze that's captivated audiences for decades.
Exactly. But there's so much more to this man than just the tough guy persona. We're going to explore his early life, his unexpected journey to stardom, and how he transformed himself from a Western icon into one of the most respected directors in Hollywood.
Sounds like a journey worth taking. Where do we begin?
Well, the story starts in 1930 San Francisco, where young Clint Eastwood Jr. was discovering a passion that might surprise you.
That's right.
Long before he was wielding a .44, Magnum Eastwood was drawn to the world of jazz, a genre that would later influence his film scores and even his directorial style. It's fascinating how early passions can shape an entire career. But Eastwood's path to Hollywood wasn't paved with musical notes. He faced rejections, worked odd jobs, and even got turned down for a role in the film Six Bridges to Cross, because his acting style was deemed too stiff.
Imagine that Clint Eastwood being told he's too stiff. It makes you wonder how that rejection might have fueled his determination to succeed.
Maybe it pushed him to develop that quiet intensity that became his trademark. It's like he channeled that early criticism into a powerful presence on screen. But speaking of on-screen presence, his big break finally came with a TV Western series called Rawhide.
Now, you might think Eastwood would be thrilled to land a leading role in a popular show, but surprisingly, he wasn't initially too excited about playing Rowdy Yates. He felt the character was a bit too simple, lacking the depth he was looking for.
He's already aiming for more than just playing the handsome cowboy, wasn't he? But sometimes you have to embrace the unexpected detours on the road to success.
And boy, did his path take an unexpected turn when he met Italian director Sergio Leone. This encounter would catapult Eastwood into a whole new world of westerns, the world of spaghetti westerns.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Leone's vision of the Wild West was a far cry from the traditional American westerns. It was grittier, more morally ambiguous, and Eastwood's character, the man with no name, fit perfectly into this morally gray landscape.
These films, known as the Dollars Trilogy, challenged the classic hero archetype. Eastwood's character was a stoic anti-hero, a gunslinger with a mysterious past and a knack for survival. And audiences were captivated by this new breed of Western hero.
It's amazing how a chance meeting and a willingness to step outside his comfort zone led to such a pivotal moment in Eastwood's career. But the Dollars Trilogy wasn't all serious drama. There's a story from the set of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly that really highlights Eastwood's quick thinking and perhaps even saved a life.
Oh, you mean the bridge explosion scene? That's a classic.
Exactly. Eli Wallach, who played Tuco in the film, was supposed to run towards a bridge that was rigged to explode. But Eastwood noticed that Wallach wasn't quite in the clear when the explosives were about to detonate.
So what did he do?
Well, in true Eastwood fashion, he didn't panic. He calmly yelled out to Wallach, warning him to move further away. And just in time, too. The bridge blew up seconds later, and thankfully Wallach was safe.
Talk about a close call. It shows that Eastwood, even in the midst of chaotic filmmaking, had a cool head and a genuine concern for his fellow actors. It's a side of him you don't always see in his stoic on-screen persona.
It's a reminder that there's always more than meets the eye, even with a legend like Clint Eastwood. Speaking of legends, let's move on to the role that solidified his place in American cinema. Inspector Harry Callahan, better known as Dirty Harry.
Ah, yes, the tough-talking, rule-bending cop who took justice into his own hands.
And delivered one of the most iconic lines in movie history. Go ahead, make my day. But here's something you might not know. That line wasn't even in the original script.
Really? That's interesting. Where'd it come from?
Well, Eastwood himself suggested it, based on something a military officer had once said to him. Talk about leaving your mark on a film.
It's amazing how sometimes the most memorable moments are born out of improvisation and a willingness to try something new. And Dirty Harry wasn't just about catchy lines. It sparked a national conversation about crime justice and the limits of the law.
It touched a nerve in American society and in a way reflected the anxieties and frustrations of the time. But before we delve deeper into the Dirty Harry phenomenon, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Clint Eastwood's world, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the fascinating stories we have coming up on Tell Me More.
And we'll be exploring how Eastwood's desire for more control over his characters and stories led him to a whole new chapter in his career behind the camera as a director.
It's a journey that's just as captivating as his on-screen adventures. Stay tuned.
Eastwood's desire for more control over his characters and stories.
Yeah, like he wasn't content with just playing the roles.
Right.
He wanted to shape the stories themselves.
It's like he was drawn to the creative control that directing offered. He could bring his own vision to life, explore themes that resonated with him, and perhaps even challenge some of the conventions of Hollywood filmmaking.
And challenge he did. His directorial style is as unique and compelling as his on-screen persona.
Well, what's fascinating here is his emphasis on efficiency and a certain rawness in his filmmaking. He's famous for shooting scenes in one take,
Yeah.
earning him the nickname One Take Clint.
Now, some might see that as a limitation, but I think it's a testament to his confidence and his ability to capture a moment's authenticity. He trusts his actors, his crew, and his own instincts.
It's a minimalist approach that strips away the excess and focuses on the essence of the scene. He avoids over-rehearsing or over-planning, preferring to let the creativity flow organically on set.
It's almost like he's saying, let's get to the heart of the matter and capture the raw emotion, the unscripted moments that make a scene truly come alive.
And that approach extends to his storytelling as well. He often avoids heavy exposition, preferring to let the audience piece together the story through the characters' actions and interactions.
It's a subtle form of storytelling that demands the audience's attention and invites them to become active participants in the narrative.
He trusts his audience to understand the nuances, the unspoken words, and the emotions that simmer beneath the surface.
It's a style that's both engaging and thought-provoking. It leaves you wanting more, pondering the characters and their motivations long after the credits roll.
Now let's not forget about Eastwood's lifelong love of music, particularly jazz.
Ah, yes. That early passion that seems to have woven its way into so much of his work.
Absolutely. It's not just about using jazz music in his films, although he does that masterfully. It's about the improvisational spirit of jazz that seems to infuse his entire approach to filmmaking.
You can see it in the way he allows for spontaneity on set, the way he gives his actors the freedom to explore their characters, and even the way he composes music for many of his films.
He's a true Renaissance man, isn't he? Actor, director, composer. He seems to excel at everything he puts his mind to.
And speaking of putting his mind to something new, who can forget his unexpected foray into politics when he became the mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California?
That was a wild chapter in his life. It's not every day you see a Hollywood icon running for local office.
But it speaks to his independent spirit and his desire to make a difference even outside the world of entertainment.
He was frustrated by bureaucratic red tape and felt he could bring a common-sense approach to local government.
And you know what? He actually accomplished quite a bit during his 2-year term. He streamlined permits for small businesses, improved public access to the beach, and even built a new library annex.
Not bad for a guy known for delivering justice with a .44 Magnum.
It just goes to show that there are many sides to Clint Eastwood, and he's full of surprises. But, of course, no discussion of Eastwood would be complete without acknowledging his sometimes controversial political views.
He's a self-described libertarian, which means he believes in limited government intervention and individual freedom.
And his political stances, both on and off screen, have often been viewed as conservative, particularly in his later films, which sometimes explore themes of patriotism, military service, and traditional values.
It's important to note, though, that even those who disagree with his political views acknowledge his talent and his impact on cinema.
He's a figure who sparks debate, challenges conventions, and makes us think about the complexities of American culture and identity.
And ultimately, isn't that what great art should do? Provoke conversations, push boundaries, and make us examine our own beliefs.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this part of our Clint Eastwood deep dive, we've seen how his desire for creative control led him behind the camera, how his passion for music infused his filmmaking, and how his independent spirit even took him into the world of politics.
It's a testament to his multifaceted personality and his relentless drive to explore new horizons.
And in part 3, we'll delve into his lasting legacy, exploring how he's influenced generations of filmmakers and how his work continues to resonate with audiences around the world.
Stay tuned as we unravel the final chapter of this captivating story.
His lasting legacy, how he's influenced generations of filmmakers, and how his work continues to resonate with audiences around the world.
It's fascinating, right? Like how Eastwood has managed to remain relevant for over 6 decades. He's a cultural icon whose image is instantly recognizable around the world.
Yeah, it really is. And it's remarkable how he's evolved over time. You know, he began as this symbol of rugged masculinity, the strong, silent type who let his actions speak louder than words.
Right. And while those early roles certainly left their mark, He's
Yeah.
proven to be so much more than just a tough guy.
He has.
He's explored the depths of human emotion, tackling themes of love, loss, regret, and redemption
Right.
with a rawness and honesty that's both compelling and thought-provoking.
He's not afraid to show vulnerability even in his most hardened characters.
No, he's not.
Take William Money in Unforgiven, for example. He's a retired outlaw, haunted by his past, seeking redemption in a world that's still steeped in violence.
Right. And Unforgiven is a prime example of a revisionist Western.
Oh, wow.
It subverts the traditional tropes of the genre, presenting a bleak and morally complex view of the Wild West.
Yeah,
It's a film that challenges our romanticized notions of cowboys and gunslingers.
for sure. And it earned Eastwood Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture, solidifying his status as a master filmmaker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's Million Dollar Baby.
Yeah.
Another powerful example of Eastwood's willingness to explore difficult themes. It's a boxing drama that delves into the complexities of ambition sacrifice
Right.
and the bonds between unlikely mentors and their protégés.
It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll, raising questions about the nature of family, the pursuit of dreams, and the acceptance of life's harsh realities.
It's interesting to note, though, that some critics argue Eastwood's later films like American Sniper and Sully lean towards a more conservative perspective, celebrating American heroism and traditional values.
But even those films are crafted with such skill and emotional depth that they transcend easy categorization. They invite viewers to engage with complex issues and form their own interpretations.
Right. Eastwood's impact extends beyond his individual films as well. He's inspired countless filmmakers, paving the way for a new generation of directors who aren't afraid to tackle gritty, character-driven stories.
There's a certain authenticity to his work, a sense that he's not just entertaining us, but also challenging us to confront difficult truths about ourselves and the world around us.
He's given us iconic characters, unforgettable lines, and films that continue to spark debate and discussion decades later.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Clint Eastwood, we're left with a profound appreciation for his artistry, his evolution, and his enduring influence on cinema.
He's a true American original, a man who's never stopped pushing boundaries and challenging expectations.
His story reminds us that the pursuit of excellence, the willingness to embrace new challenges, and the unwavering dedication to one's craft can lead to a legacy that transcends time. Thanks for joining us on Tell Me More Stories Told, his podcast.
Keep exploring those stories.
And until next time, so long, folks.